Communication Error.
Welcome to episode 85 of the Communication Error Podcast, the community patch notes episode of If We Ran Nintendo. With us today, we have I don't know if I'm going to say special guest. We have a guest.
Oh,
That's
rude. Very rude.
That is Geeb from the Drip and Geeb Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me. Honestly, that was a nicer intro than I gave to you on our podcast last week, so I'm not offended. What's up, guys?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, and I'm a little thirsty, and I have to say, I brought a let's just hide the label because it's a family show. It may
adult beverage.
It may contain adult beverage contaminants, containments. I'm just gonna pop this. I got a nice little beer mug to pour. Mug for liquid here. And I'm going to just pour this because I'm going to need as much alcohol as possible to get through
Adult beverage.
As much stuff to
liquid courage.
Liquid courage. Yes, you require lots of liquid courage, my friend.
Is that considered fermented?
22?
I don't know what another word for beer is.
Root beer?
But that's not a beer company.
It's not beer.
What?
It's not beer.
It's not beer. Okay.
Well, I'll say it. I guess I was trying to hide what it was. Hard tea.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I got one drink for the Eagles.
That honestly, I think would have been better than everything that you said. If you would have just said hard tea, like instead of hiding that it was
Well, I was trying to keep it somewhat family.
Well, I know, but hard tea is like, okay, that's not as bad.
It's worse because if there's kids listening, they're like, "Oh, I love peach tea. Let me try some peach tea." No, kids, not this one.
I'm drinking water.
Totally.
I'm trying.
Yeah, me too.
New year, new me. I'm trying to drink water. I was at like 0 cups a day. Now I'm at like 1 cup a day. So
wow, improvement.
Wow, that is good. That is good.
Supposed to drink what, 8 a day?
Supposed to drink 8 bottles a day. Yeah.
Between my water here and this mug full of liquid courage, I might take a potty break in between. Let's see.
Well, anyway, welcome. We were on the Drip and Geeb podcast last week.
You were,
and we were talking about the Nintendo Switch 2. But before we get into this, we don't have. You already answered the question. You can't answer it twice. But, here, I have a different question. What is your most anticipated game of 2025?
Me?
Yeah, Geeb.
Wow, wasn't ready for this. I should have been. I mean, for sure, no doubt. From what we know, of course. Metroid Prime, what's it called? Beyond. I'm highly anticipating that, especially Nintendo-wise. I'm anticipating that. I'll give you another one too. Excuse me. I stumbled upon a little leak today, little baby leak, not Nintendo leak. I'm sure this has been common knowledge for a little while, but I'm just catching up because I just recently became a massive Spider-Man fan. Apparently, there's a Venom game that has been kind of deciphered from code from Spider-Man 2 that they've withheld things to make a new game or DLC or a new game, but apparently they scrapped the DLC. So there's possibly going to be another Spider-Man game this year featuring Venom. And that, my friends, makes me very excited.
Yeah, I thought that was DLC. Did they not announce that?
No, they canceled the DLC for Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay.
And from what the guy said in the video, it was they canceled it so they could just make it a full Tears of Kingdom fight,
Yeah.
That would be cool. I mean, in Spider-Man 2 spoilers, you get to play Venom for like, I don't know, like 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, you could stretch it out if you kill every single thing with him, But it was fun. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So I'm assuming that's Insomniac, right?
I would imagine so. Yeah,
Insomniac always makes good stuff, and Wolverine is supposed to come out this year.
Is it? Neat.
I thought that what it was. I don't know. For me, I mean, I'm excited for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond for sure. That is going to be awesome. I hope I'll be interested to see what they do, how they update it from how many years ago was 3? It was on the Wii.
Yeah.
No way to know.
There's no way to know. There's no way to tell. No way to know. But like, I hope they update it like to more modern controls than they had back then. And even with Metroid Prime Remastered is very good. They updated the controls on that. I don't know. I'm not a huge scanning fan. I hope they don't rely heavily on scanning.
Metroid Prime 3 Corruption came out 2007.
What? So 18 years ago.
Yeah, and you complain about Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, but people actually buy Mario. So
you
like,
see this, GZ? This is Johnny.
Do you have more of that hard tea?
Revolving
Can you pass it? Can you pass it to me?
Revolving right around.
I can't wait to get into this. I can't wait to get into this because I'm objectively correct. Like,
oh my God!
I am.
You can't spell objectively, let alone
before we do it. Before this, make sure you leave reviews on Spotify, Apple,
reviews.
5-star reviews. I think we did get a new one on Apple. I didn't see if it was written. I didn't see any new written ones, but whoever left a new 5-star, thank you for that. 2025, it's the year. But okay, so I had there was a tweet.
Hold up. I also wanted to just give a shout out to Jeff Troyvania because you said that we were on the Drip and Geeb podcast, but also Jeff Troyvania was also there. And if you're not following Jeff on all of his platforms, make sure to do so because he is a really cool, chill guy.
He is. He knew a lot about computer stuff.
He's in IT, so I would hope so.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know much about accounting, and I'm in accounting.
That is very concerning.
That doesn't surprise me at all. So for some reason, the thing that you're good at, you don't know anything about. Doesn't surprise me.
All right. Getting into this. So there was a tweet that's been going around. I'm gonna read it.
Tweet.
Not my tweet.
That's what you're saying. There was a tweet going around. I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say my tweet
and not say it wasn't my tweet.
No. Okay, so I don't know. There must be a fairly big channel covering Xenoblade 3 right now. I don't know if you guys have seen this.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'll let you. It's your show, but I'll
yeah. So there was a tweet, not from the creator, but it's from this account called Fawful. It says games like Xenoblade series should be proof enough for Anuma to invest in actual storytelling instead of his open world sandbox obsession for future Zelda games. All right. Now that triggered my tweet, which is probably like my most viral tweet ever. It says, I said, no, gameplay is better than story always and forever. It's why I love Nintendo games so much. So, Geeb, you misunderstood. This guy is saying that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild have bad stories.
I didn't misunderstand anything. I was ignoring that and comment. I was having a very isolated conversation with you in your viral tweet.
And I'm also objectively correct in saying that the majority of gamers do not care about story in games.
All right, we can talk about this, but like we've already had a full episode. No,
we had DMs about this, so we're gonna talk about it.
We got DMs about it.
Yeah, me and Geeb are going back and forth.
Yeah,
and this does lead into if we ran Nintendo. Like,
okay, all right.
But first, so the majority, the most popular games in the world are not story-based games. If people wanted Xenoblade story, they would buy Xenoblade, but they don't. They buy Zelda over Xenoblade.
Hold
They buy Mario over Xenoblade. And they buy Mario Kart.
They walk right up to the counter. They say, "What game has the least amount of story?" This one. Okay.
But if people,
I will not buy the other games because I'm gonna buy Mario Kart over Xenoblade because it has no story and there's nothing in between that. That is the only person that exists. Blah blah blah.
But it's not just Xenoblade; it's all story-based games. Like if people really cared that much about story-based games, they would sell more.
Okay, hold up. Zelda has been a longer IP than Xenoblade. And Xenoblade,
Xenoblade's never gonna get to the upper echelon as Zelda.
I'm not saying that it is. But every time Xenoblade comes out with a new game, they sell more copies.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
Xenoblade 3 sold less than Xenoblade 2.
Did you happen to bring in proof for that, Cheesy? Because I would love to just prove this jerk wrong.
Xenoblade 3 sold less than Xenoblade 2. It's a fact.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, look it up, Cheesy.
And Xenoblade Chronicles X is not going to sell anything unless it's on Switch 2 as well as Switch 1.
Okay, so what you're saying, the facts that you're bringing, that the games that have no story versus the games that have story, some of the games that have no story versus some of the games that have story sell better than the other. That I can't deny that. You're bringing me cold hard facts. Well, we're only talking about sales numbers. You're making up a reason.
Sales numbers means
you're making up the reason that they bought this game over the other game, which is not what's happening.
Then why else would they buy it over the other one?
They're not buying it over the other one. They're just
buying it for the gameplay.
The other one. They're
in,
not
folks.
Buying it over.
This is the episode you get.
But they are, or the sales numbers would be the same.
No, that's not how life works. If it brings me proof, I want to see cold hard facts.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold 60 million copies. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 sold.
I don't want to hear your sales numbers. That is
how else can you judge it if not by sales numbers?
Asking people. That's how you judge it.
That's another like anecdotal thing.
Ask the gamer. And Johnny, now I admit this is anecdotal. I fully aware this is anecdotal.
Like if you ask somebody on the street,
I'm taking over. Johnny and Cheesy, asked the community of the Drip and Geeb podcast the other night because I was so angry at you. I'm like, this is only going to be anecdotal. We're not a huge show. We got 45 people to respond. That's more than I thought we would in a poll on our channel. And I asked a simple question. Do you think story matters in video games? No or yes? Do you care to know the results of this poll?
I know you already are going to say that it's yes, but again, 45 out of 150 million just Nintendo Switch players
That's
disagree
more
with
you're
you.
Bringing. You're just saying you're comparing Xenoblade to Mario Kart. It has nothing to do with each other. They're not in the same market. They're not the same.
But
games
the story, if the story mattered, if the people that bought Mario Kart,
93% of 45 people thought that yes, story.
You
mattered.
probably put like, I'm gonna try to prove a point to Johnny Bo.
It's public. Look at
it's 45 people.
Okay, I told you it's anecdotal, but I did more research than you did. You're just like
the research is. I don't have to do research.
Hold on. I will say,
what was the answer?
Johnny was correct. Xenoblade 2 sold 2.70 million. Xenoblade 3 sold 8.86 million copies as of March 2023.
8.8?
Yeah, that's more. That's wrong. It's 1.8 million and 2.7 million.
What did I say?
8.8.
Oh, well, I meant 1.86.
Okay.
But
how long was Xenoblade 2 out for?
Okay.
The time, time matters, and sequels never do better than the prequels.
It is as of December 31st of 2022. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 sold 2.70 million units. So, I mean, like, we don't really have, I guess, accurate information since, we're in 2025 now.
I just completely disagree with the fact that sales numbers define.
Oh my God! It's the only metric we have. It's the only metric we have. We don't have any other metric unless you ask every single person. That's the only metric.
Breath of the Wild. Look, when Breath of the Wild came out, that was a release game for the Switch, or opening or release day, and I had played Ocarina 3D. I played Twilight Princess. I think that's it as far as like Zelda games. So I wasn't really too interested in playing Breath of the Wild just because it didn't seem like my kind of game, the things that I enjoyed. But like it was either 1-2 Switch, which I did buy, or I had the option of buying Breath of the Wild. Like, what else was I going to play?
Yeah, but all right. So if
the console was so new,
but then Tears of the Kingdom still sold 20 million copies over. Like it's way more than the 1.86
because people gave a chance for
oh
Breath
my
of the
God.
Wild.
You guys are trying to spin something that you can't because it's just they're cold hard numbers. And Breath of the Wild
mean anything, what you're saying.
Breath of the Wild is one of the highest rate. All right, before we get off track, so Breath of the Wild is the highest selling Zelda game ever. Tears of the Kingdom is the highest selling or the second highest selling Zelda game ever. So these people are saying that they should go back to the linear experiences like Wind Waker and Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time when the majority of people don't want that.
Okay. Can I say another thing that you always misunderstand what I'm saying, and you're probably continuing to misunderstand tonight? You are in a niche of a niche, and let me explain.
I'm not.
And let me explain. I mean, you're also in a niche of a niche of a niche because you're also a content creator. You can throw that in the middle of your niches. But so you're in a third percentile of niche. But you're in the niche because you play video games, okay? That's a niche. You're in the niche of a niche because you're a Nintendo fan gamer. That's a niche of a niche. And the content creator thing. Niche, okay? Here's the other thing. You like the first niche gamers, that's huge. There are more casual gamers than every other niche of category of gamers.
But they don't count? Like, are you saying they don't count?
No, it's not that they don't count. It's that
you're saying they don't count.
It's indisputable that yes, you
only
are
true gamers count in this.
No. Can I help your argument for a second? You can't even let me help your argument. I'm trying to help you by saying there's so many casual gamers that, of course, more people don't care about story in that sense because they're too busy playing Fortnite, Roblox, Minecraft, all these other games that are just like those and other offshoots of different kinds of mobile MMOs and stuff like that. They outnumber the majority of the rest of the niches. Like, yeah, there's more people who don't care about story. But you're talking about like...
That's all I'm saying. I'm in the majority.
But within our niche, it's like the second layer of the niche of a niche.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Like Nintendo games and people who are like hardcore Nintendo fans, hardcore Sony fans, hardcore Xbox fans. That's the next level of that. They care about story because they're not playing Fortnite all day long. They're not playing, Xenoblade ever. They've never even heard of Metroid before because they're too busy playing Fortnite. But then when you get to those people like us, the people like us, the niche of a niche, we like story. You are in like the fourth percentile of that because you're like one of the few people who's like, hey, I like story.
I'm not wrong on this.
What makes you passionate?
Your argument doesn't even make sense. Like, if you take out all of the other gamers that I deem that are not real gamers, if you take out all of them, I played Fortnite, I played Call of Duty, I play, all those casual games. What about Animal Crossing? What about the people that play Animal Crossing? There's no story there. What about people that, the majority of Nintendo people that buy Nintendo games, like, look at the top selling games. There's no story.
So, Johnny, from our previous conversations, you've said that gameplay is more important than story. And before 100%, you talk,
yes.
Damn, dude, you can't even keep your mouth shut for. If you would let me finish, I was gonna say that I agree with you. I agree that gameplay is more important than story when it comes to gaming. However, I do like when they're able to incorporate a story around the gameplay. I think gameplay it's funny. I just got a notification that a baby is crying, and I'm sure it's me yelling at Johnny. It's Johnny that's crying. No, I totally...
my whole point was that I'm in the majority of people that don't care about story, and I think I proved my point with factual information. You're just like making stuff up, like if I take these 20 people in this weird room over here, and I ask them if they like story in their games, they all say yes. So that means everybody likes story.
I was on your side. I was saying that gameplay is important, but I do think it's cool when they can incorporate a story around the gameplay.
Which
That
I
means
think
that they have fully thought about the way that they want the game to be played and the story that they want around it.
It's a balance, Cheesy. The games need a balance, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Johnny, I also don't disagree with you in the sense that gameplay is. I'm not out here saying story is more important. But you are so extreme and so visceral with story doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It's bad, and that's where you lose me.
The minority of people don't care.
And that's where you lose me. you lose me with your negativity nonsense, making shit up.
I'm not making it up. It's there's numbers. There's actual data there.
The data doesn't equal what you think it does.
Yes, it does.
You're misinterpreting the equation.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, these people actually care about story, but they don't buy the story games because I don't know why. They just don't buy it.
But
they buy games like Mario Kart. They buy games like Super Smash Brothers. They buy games like Animal Crossing that don't have story.
And you think that they also don't buy the Xenoblades? You're telling me that
yes,
the Mario Kart,
because look at the difference in the sales numbers.
So they can only buy one game. They cannot buy anything else. They only buy one, and they're definitely not buying Pikmin.
Look at the delta.
Xenoblade.
Look at the delta. There's 40 million people that bought Animal Crossing. There's 1.86 million that bought Xenoblade.
As far as I know, 40 million
is
more than one. So there could possibly be 1 million of those 40 million who also bought two games that happen to be Xenoblade.
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying the majority of people don't care.
That's how. How do you get there? How do you get that they don't care?
So there's 41 million sales of Animal Crossing and Xenoblade 3 combined, right? 40 million bought Animal Crossing. No story. That's the majority. So I'm saying they don't care.
The majority of people don't buy every game, and they definitely don't buy games like Xenoblade.
But if they really cared about story,
these are facts. But what's not a fact is nobody cares. And yes, the majority does buy these other games. But it doesn't mean that if you ask them with a microphone, hey, do you think that games with story is bad? Yeah, they would. You think they say, yeah, we don't go to movies either because those fucking things suck. We don't watch TV. We only play Mario Kart. We care nothing about narrative whatsoever. Narrative is terrible. Narrative is a poison. I only want to play Super Smash Brothers.
I think the narrative in movies makes sense. I like movie narratives and I like TV show narratives because that is a different medium. It makes more sense. Video games, it doesn't make any sense. Like
that's where you're losing me. You've already lost people like me when you say something like that.
I'm taking over now because we've had this conversation too many times.
We haven't had this conversation before.
We haven't had this conversation after Johnny's infamous tweet that is going around. Well, is what he's trying to say.
The way I'm bringing it back is: would you change the Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild formula if you were Nintendo?
Asking Geeb?
Either.
Would you change it? Like that's the very broad question. Yeah, of course. They changed the formula of Breath of the Wild. They added a bunch of like crafting materials and made it and called it Tears of the Kingdom.
But to more be more narrative focused as opposed to the open sandbox.
It's called evolving. And if you don't evolve, if you don't progress, you fail. So of course they're going to change the game, and I think it makes a lot of sense for them to now. They went Breath of the Wild. They went fully away from narrative and just went focused on gameplay. And then in Tears of the Kingdom, they brought in some crafting stuff and made it more interesting, made it much more interesting than Breath of the Wild. Changed it, and then with their next version, absolutely, I think that's a natural progression in this is to kind of bring back a little bit some of that what they lost before with more narrative.
I think the only thing they should have changed for Tears of the Kingdom.
I was just gonna say, like, are they gonna make it? Like, are they gonna do Twilight Princess again? Like, no, they're not gonna go that direction. They're not gonna go full narrative, forget everything else. That would be stupid. Look what they're about to do with the Switch 2. They're not forgetting.
Why wouldn't they do that? Huh? Why wouldn't they do that?
Because they're not gonna forget what worked. They're gonna do what worked and just evolve
and sold better.
Hold up, Johnny. Your argument is a little weird because you're saying that like so many people bought Breath of the Wild because it didn't have a story. That's weird. Like if they did give the
No,
opportunity to
no.
have a story. No, let me finish. If they had opportunity to have a story in it, maybe people would be interested in the Zelda lore. I'm not saying that they needed to have story in Breath of the Wild. All I'm saying is if they had the opportunity to put that in the game, like you're saying that would have ruined people's experience.
I think the way, if they wanted to incorporate like Xenoblade, yes, because then it would have to be a more linear experience. And I don't think the whole point of the whole reason that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are special are because of how open they are and how much freedom they give the player. And I think that's what resonated with people. I think the one thing that they could have changed with Tears of the Kingdom is had the memories be like in a certain order, like even, no matter how you found them, like it should have been 1 through 10 or whatever it was. I forget how many there were, but instead of randomly piecing them together, like no matter what tier you found, you would still get like the first tier would still be your first, like the first memory.
So the story lined up.
Yeah, because that's what kind of made it confusing. Other than that, I mean, I think the story in Tears of the Kingdom is pretty emotional. Like I think it's a decent story. So I don't know what this person was yapping about, that Xenoblade has a better story. And I think Breath of the Wild even had a decent story, especially like the
it did.
the DLC.
It's underrated, man. It's underrated.
Yeah,
Wild story.
I mean, I think the voice acting could have been a little better. You know, if they were going that direction for the first time, it was okay.
They improved it with Tears of the Kingdom, though. I mean, give them credit.
They did. Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean,
that's all I would change. I would not. I want them, and I think even Anuma said that they're going to do this open. How these games, open sandbox games, are moving forward. Like we're not going to get an Ocarina of Time again. We're not going to get a Twilight Princess again, unless it's, you know, we got Echoes of Wisdom. That was more linear. And that story was, wasn't like, who cares?
I mean, we're on the same page for so long, and then you finish with, who cares?
I mean, who cares about the Echoes story? Like, it wasn't anything. It wasn't anything special, and it's very predictable. That's how all of the Nintendo stories are. They're super predictable. Like, why even have them?
So, to me, it's funny. Like, I think Nintendo is really like the golden age of musicals, because in that era of musicals, they came up with the music first and then the story, which is exactly what Nintendo does. They come up with the gameplay first and then the story. And yeah, the story isn't that great. Like if you're expecting something like amazing from Nintendo, you're probably not going to get it. Though I haven't played Xenoblade, I haven't played Fire Emblem, so I can't speak on that. Those stories may be great for Nintendo, but I don't know. I mean, I just think it's fine to have options. And kind of with Zelda too, like I think it's fine if they go back and be more traditional. You have some Zelda fans who weren't happy with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because you could do it however you wanted. And I understand that, like, that's awesome. You give people many different ways to figure out a puzzle, but also Zelda games are puzzle based. And sometimes it is kind of fun to only have one answer that you need to figure out. Like if everybody is just kind of, there were many times where I was like, I don't know what the answer to this puzzle is. I'm just going to kind of cheat my way around it. And it worked. And like, yeah, that's
what
fun
made it so good.
That's fun to say that you know how to do that. But like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that likes, I got some puzzle boxes for Christmas, and those are really like intricate, and like every little detail matters what's on the box. And that's how you figure out what to do with the next step. I like Rubik's cubes, you know, like it. There is some kind of you get satisfied by like figuring out the thing that you were supposed to do, not just some kind of workaround. And I'm not saying that I don't like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Like those are great games. But I'm the
opposite. I think it's more satisfying to figure something out a way that like feels like you're not supposed to figure it out that way. Like in Breath of the Wild, there's that infamous ball maze shrine, and you could flip the maze completely upside down and solve it that way. Like that's so cool that there's just different options. And like the thing that annoyed me about older Zelda games is you would get an item and you would use it for one dungeon, and then you would use it to beat one specific boss and then never use it again. Like, what is the point of that?
I mean, that's kind of how some of Breath of the Wild is. You find a weapon that you're like, oh, I'll use it, and then you probably never use it again because it's not that great.
But you have more freedom as the player. Like you get the abilities like right off the bat, and you could use them throughout the whole game to solve like all the puzzles. Like I think that's what made it the perfectly designed game.
So we don't disagragree. We love the game. It's a great game. Gameplay is phenomenal.
Yeah, I want less story in it actually.
Okay, so like let's do. I like analogies. So let's try a food analogy. Do you like mushrooms, Johnny?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Kind of depends.
I don't like mushrooms. Okay. Now try to convince me that I like mushrooms and why I should like mushrooms. Go.
Why? I don't understand.
That's a great question, because that's when you try to make me, what you try to make me think, or try to make me believe that story doesn't matter. That's like you trying to make me like mushrooms.
I'm just saying the majority of people don't care about story. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. We don't have data. This is just a playful thing.
Yes, we do.
No, for my analogy. But let's just say that mushrooms don't sell that much, okay? But there's a big fan base of people who like mushrooms.
I'm saying the majority of people. Are you saying the majority of people like mushrooms?
Okay. But you say it's you've been noted that you said it sucks and that it doesn't matter. It's not
to me, yeah.
You combine it. You're like a politician adding it to your bill and like trying to sell it all as one.
The majority of people don't care.
It's correct that you're correct when you say that it's the majority, because of course, because most people are just playing Fortnite. But as far as
you're acting like they're not gamers.
What's happening right now? It's like we keep going back and forth on the same topic, and I'm trying to move forward.
He lost, and he's trying to like
I
cover
lost
himself.
Now.
He lost.
I lost.
I have the numbers are it's a fact.
Geeb,
ask your audience.
If you ran Nintendo, what would you do? Just across the board, like if you have many ideas, rattle them off.
I think we know what Johnny would do. He would only Mario. He said it in the last show we were on. I think he said he would get rid of
only
all Mario
and open Zelda.
Oh, I'm so glad you don't run Nintendo.
But all right. So only Mario.
Sorry,
all right. What was the last Nintendo game you bought?
What was the last Nintendo game I bought?
Yeah.
I was Zelda.
Yeah. Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom.
What about the one before that?
I think that was Luigi's Mansion 2.
What about the one before that?
Princess Peach.
They're all Mario. They're all Mario or Mario and Zelda. They're all Mario and Zelda. You didn't buy Emio. You didn't buy World Classics.
So that's what you're saying. You're saying that everything else doesn't matter.
I'm just trying to. So
we should abolish every restaurant that's on McDonald's, because McDonald's sells the most burgers, and every food joint everywhere else should just disappear, because clearly everybody just likes McDonald's. We shouldn't eat anywhere else. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just trying to. I'm just trying to prove a point, and I think I did prove a point that you're buying Mario and Zelda games. You're not buying Emio. You're not buying. Those were the championships. You're not buying.
Okay, Johnny, who bought Emio but didn't play
it. I did. I'm just saying, like I am in the minority of the people that buy every single Nintendo
because you
game.
do it for the collection of it.
Yeah,
be real, man.
The clout.
But I am being real. I would love if it was just Mario and Zelda. Like that's not even like. I would love if they just did get rid of Kirby, get rid of all of their other stuff that like
only cater to Johnny.
I mean, cater to the games that sell. Like if
discredit the millions.
Why are you on
millions of copies of other games that aren't Mario and Zelda? Millions of them sell.
All right, hold on.
Discredit them because there's more.
Super Mario Odyssey sold like 30 million copies.
No.
And like all of these other remakes, remasters didn't even sell probably didn't even sell a total of 30 million copies combined. Like why would you wait 8 years to sell another 3D Mario? You could just wait 4 years, 4 years, sell another 20, do another 4 years, sell another 20. Like you would make so much more money, man. You make so much more money.
Okay. Maybe it's not about the money though, man.
It is. It's business, bro.
Nintendo famously, I would say something here. Right. Nintendo is very much about business. They're very much about making money.
And however, I totally get. I understand
of all three of the big ones, Cheesy, Nintendo is the one who cares the most about making a good game. I think we can all agree. So as far as the worst of the worst corporate business game companies that make lots of money and that's their focus, Nintendo is the leader when it comes to focusing on making great games over most profit.
Yeah, but I mean, if they could make a great Mario 3D platformer in 4 or 5 years, not 8, and still make a ton of money. Like people act like I'm crazy for saying that. Like I want a new 3D Mario when it's been 7.5 years. Like, how is that crazy? 7.5 years is a long time.
So is waiting for a new Metroid game. So is waiting for a new Donkey Kong game. Like,
what would you do, Cheesy? What would you do? I don't think you've said what you would do if you were Nintendo. The point of this episode, apparently.
Yeah. One of the things I would do that, like, I didn't mention in the last episode there's probably a lot of things that I would do, but one big one is get rid of friend codes. Like, we need a new way to be able to register each other as friends. And then I also would love if there was like a note section for your friends, because people change their username all the time. It doesn't stay the same unless, you have like a username on social media. They're just putting in whatever, and then they decide that they want to change their name next week. Like, I wish I could have a note section that said, this is Geeb or this is Johnny.
Get a notification.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this person changed their name.
Or that. Yeah.
I mean, simple as that. Cheesy, do you have a PS5? I know Johnny does.
No, I don't.
Johnny, I'm assuming you've played around with the PS5 app.
Not much.
Well, you've downloaded it. You've seen what it's about, right? I mean, it's freaking awesome. I mean, it's like the future. Like, the app can do the things that Switch can't do. Like, I open up Astrobot and it's like, hey, here's some tips and tricks if you want to,
oh, that's cool.
This whatever. It like sends me a notification on my phone, or like somebody's online. All the stuff that locally in the console it also does in the app. And plus, I can go in the app and like buy a game and download it on my system here and then.
I think you can do that on
I can change
Nintendo.
my username. I can do everything
on the website.
What you can't do though is everything that you can do on the console, you can do in the app and more.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Which is awesome.
It would be awesome if you could have like an instruction manual in the Nintendo app, just as like a fun little bonus, like how they used to be when they would come with the game, just to see some of the art that's in there. And yeah, again, like I've said it before, I think Nintendogs would be a perfect mobile game. I think Table Turf Battle would be a great Nintendo mobile game. And I don't know how much mobile games we'll see in this second era of the Switch, because it kind of seems like they're leaning away from those, unless you have like a paid version like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which I wonder how much that has sold. Do we know?
Good question. I don't think we know yet. Are you talking about before or after they like changed the whole formula of it?
It became $20.
Yeah. I wonder how it did after that. I want to see like comparisons, like how it did when it was free. Well, I'm sure it's gonna be way inflated as far as downloads is concerned because it was free. But maybe user base and play base and stuff like that. There's data we can have. I wonder how it changed. Yeah, I like your ideas, Cheesy. I like him. I like your ideas. I mean, that's more small and simple stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely not like a racing majority of your studios. That's a little bit of a different.
I'll leave Animal Crossing there.
good.
I'll leave Animal Crossing there. I'll leave Super Smash Brothers there, Mario Kart, like the games that people actually care about. Yeah,
You're not gonna give me Splatoon.
God.
I'll leave
And
Splatoon
you
there.
did it again. You keep doing this thing where you're like, nobody cares.
I mean, they
People
actually
only care.
Actually, I think this is how they decide because we haven't seen an F-Zero in however long, 20 years. It's because the last F-Zero didn't sell.
F-Zero 99 did pretty well.
I mean, did it though? We don't know.
I'd be shocked if they didn't reintroduce F-Zero in this next generation, because of the success of F-Zero.
But then you have to buy it. Like, people have to buy it. They're not going to be selling. They're not going to keep making these games that only sell 1 million copies when they can make a game that sells 20 million copies.
No, you misunderstand. They make the games that are big sellers because they're big sellers. Also, like ones like Mario and Zelda, they're passionate about them. Obviously, honestly, Nintendo's passionate about every. It doesn't matter if it's a $1 million seller or if it's a 30 million copy seller. They care about all of them equally. I truly believe their studios take it just as seriously. They're different people, I'm sure, making Zelda versus Animal Crossing, but they care so deeply about it. I mean, as a musician, like going to Animal Crossing, again, it's a big seller. I'm not, but in this example, you can just tell how much they care about Animal Crossing. Because, like, have you guys seen, like, videos or at least heard the isolated, like, tracks of Animal Crossing? Like, these are people with real instruments making these, it was a real composition of music they made. And it's, like, because it sounds like little simple boops and beeps in your game, right? You don't think about it that much. But it's like they put so much thought and effort into just the compositions of these, like, boops and beeps. And not to mention KK Slider and his music, the actual boops and beeps, like the electronic KK Slider, his music is fucking insane. Like, somebody really went hard on like those hundreds of songs that he has. They're all really good.
And that's how I feel about Splatoon as well, because it's the same studio that makes it, or the same team.
Dude, the Splatoon music goes so hard. It has no business. But Splatoon 3 in particular too. Like, that's what I'm familiar with. It goes so hard. Like, they go so hard with it, and that's a good example because that's a small studio. They go so hard with it. A big studio that make Animal Crossing, they go so hard with it too. Like, they're not just going to get rid of the games that don't sell 30 million. Some devs would kill for 2.5 million copies sold. Like, they would kill for it, Johnny. And you're out here being like, "Oh, it only sold 1.5 million." Some people would kill for that.
I understand. I get it, but like, so this past year and a half, really, has been mid. And like, we didn't get anything that exciting. And like, that's what happens when they don't want to release one of their major IPs again. Like, if we have to wait, say the Switch 2 comes out, 3D Mario releases year one, and then we don't get another 3D Mario until the Switch 3 comes out 10 years later. Like, it's so stupid. It's so stupid and frustrating. I'm going to be 50 by the time the Switch 3 comes out. And then that will be when I get another 3D Mario and be on my deathbed.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, because I'm so annoyed that they didn't release another 3D Mario.
And that's what puts you in?
Yeah.
Wow. What a sad life.
I feel bad for you, man.
Yeah, seriously.
But I don't know. I don't think it's.
I guess that the majority of gamers are going to die now because they don't have
probably
Mario.
Here's my thought. Maybe I won't cut out everything besides Mario and Zelda. If it's not in the top 10, then it gets cut. All right. So we have Mario, Zelda, all the Pokemon games. They get to stay. We got Mario Party.
Please tell me this is just for lulz and content, because that's normally what you do.
I do think they
tell
need
me
to.
That's just for lulz. Because
I think they need to.
I'm sorry. What is wrong with you?
I do think they need to put more emphasis on their bigger IPs. Like, they front loaded the Switch so much. Like, they released a lot of their big titles early in the Switch's life cycle, which was good, but then it just kind of trickled. Like, we haven't had a big release since Tears of the Kingdom, and that was just another Zelda game. Like, why? I don't even know what was the big one before that.
Pikmin 4?
That's not big.
Oh, okay.
That was after Tears of the Kingdom.
No.
That was before.
Yeah.
No, it came out in July. It came out July of the same year.
Pikmin 4 came out March 2024. That is before. Oh wait, no, yeah, that's after. No.
It came out in July of 2024. 2023.
Yes, so you might be right about that. I think you are right about that.
I know I'm right about that. I know my stuff. I know when they come out. But like, even Luigi's Mansion 3, that's what, 6 years old at this point. Super Smash Brothers is 6 or 7 years old at this point. All their big IP, we're going to get them early in the Switch 2's life cycle, but we're probably not going to see them until the next console, which sucks. Like, I don't want to wait 8 years between every big title.
Pikmin 4 sold 3.4 million.
Exactly, a fraction of what Tears of the Kingdom sold.
Yeah, they're very small. Very small.
I told you, yeah.
But isn't that the most
sarcastic.
that Pikmin has sold?
I mean, you have how many chances? 5 chances, and like that's your max on the best.
You understand
you
understand that's a lot of copies, right? Like
I
really
get it, but not for
Nintendo,
dude. Not for Nintendo. Like that's not for Nintendo Switch. That's not a lot.
Maybe the Nintendo Switch was so big that even Nintendo was like, "How are we going to keep up with demand?" Because maybe they don't have that many people. Maybe they don't have that many teams.
But they do. They're just working on these smaller titles.
And that's a problem for you.
They do not pull a significant amount of, like, let's say, Zelda
Then what are they doing?
Working on Zelda so they can work on Pikmin.
What was the Odyssey team doing for 8 years? 8 years. You guys are acting like 8 years is not a long time. It's a long time.
It is a long time. It is a long time. But I mean, I was excited when Pikmin 4 came out.
No, I'm okay. So here's the thing. I'm okay with these smaller titles as long as we still have the big titles.
Blah, blah, blah.
I'm okay with these small titles if they have the big titles around them.
They do.
No, they don't.
This year was an outlier.
Last year as well.
Because the last 2 years weren't supposed to happen. You understand the last 2 years were supposed to be Switch 2 already? They weren't supposed to happen.
What was the release
in fact, the plans were so scrambled when in 2021 when they had to shuffle and release the OLED. The OLED wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be a Switch Pro. That was supposed to happen. Original Switch, a variation of and it's a Switch Pro. And they had probably had all this planned for Switch Pro, and they had to just backtrack because of COVID and be like, all right, let's readjust here. Let's reformulate and that's probably in 2021 is probably when they decided this generation was going to be a lot longer than they planned. And they released the OLED, and they made adjustments. Like, things didn't go as planned. Nintendo, first of all, when the generation started, they didn't know what to expect. There was no real plan. They just were like, let's hope that this doesn't flop, so we got to go bankrupt with the Switch because of how bad the Wii U was. So when it succeeded past their dreams, the wildest dreams, they were like, oh crap, well, okay, now let's make a new plane here. Let's readjust. this whole generation's been adjusting. And the Switch 2 is going to be the first generation in since the Wii where they have a formulated plan that they can execute because they're not spending the whole generation adjusting to things. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't supposed to be this way. They weren't supposed to only release one Mario 3D game in 8 years, but they had to adjust. This is the way it was.
They could have.
Oh my God, he's mute. Don't, you told him he was muted. Damn it.
Oh, well, I'm trying to save your show. I get actually no. Maybe we should mute him. There you go. You're back.
I think I was muted. Back. I wasn't muted on. I don't know. Whatever. But they could have released the 3D because they clearly are working on another 3D Mario. They would have been working on a 3D Mario since the release of Mario Odyssey. They could have released one 5 or 6 years into the Switch's life, but now they were like, all right, I guess we'll wait until the Switch 2. I don't know. I'll be interested to see how the Switch 2 life cycle goes, because if it's this again, it's super annoying and stupid.
Okay, well then you have the other route where they hire too many people and then they can't pay them and then they have to lay off people and then there's delays.
But they don't. That's not Nintendo. That's not Nintendo. Nintendo makes a lot of money.
Why do you think that's not Nintendo?
Nintendo makes a lot of money. They would not like if they hire people to make the game, they won't lay them off. Like that's not how Nintendo works.
Yeah,
Also,
Nintendo
Nintendo's a
takes a
Japanese
pay cut.
They're a Japanese company and it works very differently. Business.
Yeah.
They can't just lay people off like American companies can.
Well, I mean,
Like, they'll
I hear
shift.
what
They'll
you're saying,
shift.
but-
They should shift resources. I mean, what has the Odyssey team been doing? Like they're just paying that Odyssey team what? For 8 years to do nothing.
We don't know that, Johnny.
We don't know what they're doing. We don't know that, and we
Exactly. We don't know what they're doing.
So
Yeah, but it doesn't
why
mean they're
are
doing
you-
nothing.
Yeah.
But they, like, what have they been doing? What was Retro doing before Metroid Prime 4?
I think
Like, they had to be
I
working
think
on a
we're gonna
game.
Find out. We're gonna find out in 2025 what they're doing.
No, we're not. Like, I
It's not
guarantee.
happening
Like, I
as
bet
fast as Baby Johnny wants. Baby Johnny wants to know faster. Tell me now. More.
we haven't had a
You have to
Mario
be
Kart in
patient.
10 years. Like, you guys act like I'm crazy, and I'm not. Like, it's 10 years
Because
for a
there's
Mario Kart, 8 years
More to
for a
life than
Mario.
just video games, man. Like it's a video game podcast. I totally get that, and like we love video games, but at the same time, like you play games and you beat them within like
This is
a
going
6
back.
hour span.
This is going
Because
back.
they're
to
so
the last time I
good,
was
like-
on your show.
I beat Mario Wonder.
Yeah, I
You
know.
don't like the cheeseburgers. You throw the wrapper away and demand another one quickly, but they closed already, and he's banging on the door. Where's my next cheeseburger? And
You're
they're saying,
acting. You're
"We're
acting
closed.
like.
Go
You're
home."
acting like Odyssey came out last week, and I'm asking for a new one now. No, it came out 8 years ago. It's
What
like
do you
Johnny,
say?
I said last week or the week before that I agree with you. Like last year, the games were not super exciting. Like I haven't really picked up my Switch. There's still like games that I want to play that aren't Nintendo focused, but I just haven't gotten around to them yet. And so like even though they're not Nintendo games, there's still games that I could be playing. But I am excited for whatever is coming next. Like that is what's going to excite me again. Maybe will get me talking on social media again, because right now I don't care to talk about these rumors and leaks and what may be happening.
And
Like
that is definitely
that's not
it's not
fun to
that
me.
is Nintendo's fault. That is 100% Nintendo's fault. Like they let this go on far too long. They let these rumors
COVID was
and
Nintendo's
leaks.
fault? COVID-
That is
was
Nintendo's fault. That's Nintendo's
Nintendo's to
fault.
blame for COVID.
No, not that. They're these rumors and leaks. They've let them go on for far too long without saying anything. Like they should have said something last year.
What's your point?
Like that's why everybody's talking about rumors and leaks, because Nintendo hasn't stopped it.
What does Nintendo care about these rumors and leaks? Like, of course,
it
they're
affects their business.
Yeah, it kind of does, but actually, what it does is create
Like on
more
Thursday, so
demand.
we're supposed to see it on.
You understand supply and demand? If there's a lot of demand for Switch too.
It's supposed to
pretty
be
damn clear.
revealed
But if
on
they-
Thursday, and we're gonna see this trailer. There's gonna be magnetic Joy-Cons. There's gonna be, what the mouse thing that we talked about. Like everybody's already gonna know what it is. It's not
I'm sorry.
exciting.
I can't hear you because I have my blinders on. These are my Johnny Ebo edition blinders.
I didn't make sense.
I can only see what's directly in front of me, and I can't see anything outside of it.
Everybody thinks I'm wrong, but I know I'm right.
I'm not saying you're wrong, dude. You are looking right down here, right down the center, and you are ignoring everything outside of it. And maybe you don't like it, what's outside of it, but you got to look at it and face it, because it is a reality. We don't like it. I don't like either that it's been so long since we've gotten the last Mario game. But it's what it is, and that's not defending Nintendo. It's not. But it's the fact of the matter. And I, as someone who's trying to analyze the situation instead of complain about it, goes, COVID really messed up everything, let alone Nintendo. But it certainly messed up their schedule of things. And that is how I'm explaining why it's been so long. I still don't like it, but that's the explanation that I've come up with. You don't have an explanation. You're just yelling about it.
I mean, I understand
I'm
COVID.
trying to help you.
COVID was 5 years ago. Like, what? I mean, sure, it affected it for a couple years, but we're 5 years
COVID
removed
began
from it.
5 years ago. We are like maybe 2 years removed from it, if you're being generous.
But I still don't think there's any excuse for them. I know why they're doing it. They want to have stuff for the Switch 2. They don't want the Switch 2 to flop. Now, if we don't get a Mario Kart at launch, if we don't get a 3D Mario at launch, or not near launch, I'll be like, what the hell have you been doing for 10 years? Because that we all assume they're going to have those games at launch for Switch 2, but what happens if they don't?
Good things come to those who wait. Patience, Johnny.
I've been patient. It's been 8 years.
It's got me far in life, man. I'll tell you.
Johnny's too far gone. Let me just talk to the people out there who agree with Johnny. If you're out there listening and you agree with Johnny, you think Cheesy and I are dummies, okay? Let me help you. So this podcast is very similar to the one that I had the last time I was on with you guys. Very, very similar. Talk similar points. We've gone.
I wonder why.
But here's because
Johnny and I
are both loud. Johnny and I are too similar.
Yes,
we're both too loud.
Exactly.
And we're both too stubborn.
Johnny,
so that's why this goes the same direction.
Super hyped up when you are here, and wants to prove a point to his Philly buddy.
Kill the Rams. I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I just saying? It was important. Don't remember. Maybe I'll think of it in a second.
The listeners that are wisely agreeing with me.
I want to try to convince the people who agree with Johnny that he is not the savior they should be listening to. I still kind of forget what I was saying. What was my reason? I had a good reason of why I got distracted because go Birds. Yeah. Well, I'll remember at some point.
That's my strategy. I'm gonna just make you forget.
All right.
It's
so
not that hard for me.
Another thing, if I ran Nintendo, I agree with Johnny and I disagree with Johnny because I'm the type of person who did get 2 Splatoon games in the same Switch era. And people can say, oh, it was the same game. Like, it was fun for me to get another game. So I completely understand where Johnny is coming from, but I also like when things take their time and they're not rushed. And I'm not saying that they couldn't have had a game in 8 years. Shut up, Johnny. I can hear your mind going 1,000 miles per hour.
This game better be incredible. Like, it better take hundreds of hours to beat.
Okay, great. I also would have a stronger Nintendo social media team. I don't know if you guys follow Pokemon, even though Pokemon is a Japanese company, even the American account is really fun, and it just is creative, and it just doesn't feel as corporate. Yes, it is, but it just feels like an account. Like right now, I really love the TCG Pocket admin, because they're just saying like, hey guys, sorry, I was on break since the new year, but I'm back. These are some things that we have planned, blah, blah, blah. Or they're just saying like, these are the polls that I got. And I know that they're still just trying to reel people into TCG, but it just feels more personable instead of just like business. And I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of creative things that Nintendo could do with their social media. And I think they've been getting there over the years, but it's not there yet.
They tweeted about Alarmo today.
They did, yeah.
And Emio.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people care about right now.
I do remember what I was going to say.
Oh my God, Johnny. Dude.
Read the replies on those tweets.
Yeah, the replies.
Nobody is talking about Emio or Donkey Kong.
Because people are waiting on the Switch too. I understand that, because like I also am wanting something exciting. It's we're the boy from The Incredible.
It's not the minority at this point.
Mr. Incredible.
Most people.
I'll stop talking.
I'm sorry, Cheesy. I contributed to that.
No, it's fine. I mean, I just get frustrated, man, because it's like we have to argue over every little thing on the internet. If we don't have this thing, that's not good enough because this thing isn't here. Or if we do have this thing, then we don't have this thing. It's like we can't be grateful for what we do have and not what we don't. And that's just, it's really upsetting. And I think it shows a lot about the type of people that we are, where we're always just wanting more instead of just appreciating what I know. It's consumerism, and I totally get that. But maybe that's also just another reason why it's nice to wait for some of these games. Like, yes, 8 years, way too long. I totally agree with that. Maybe we could have had one a little sooner than that. But I also like art is you just can't rush it, man. And Nintendo does make art. People want to argue, is video games art? It is. And it just takes time.
but it wasn't because of again, it's not because of the art, man. It's not because of the art.
What do you know that we don't?
They are a business. They were trying to make a strategic play that they're like, hey, Switch is still selling. We don't really need another 3D Mario on it right now. We're going to save that for the Switch 2. That will guarantee moving units, guarantee selling games. Like the same thing with Mario Kart. It's not an artistic choice. It's a financial choice. Like they're a business.
Sure.
Like I'm upset about 3D Mario, but like Mario Kart has been 10 years. And like you're telling me you're excited for an overpriced remake.
You upset? You're upset that it's been that long for Mario Kart? As far as I'm concerned, that game was as much fun as it was in year 11 than it was in year 1.
It's a fun game.
It's
I really like. I want something new.
How long's it been? Whatever the current year is for, 12, 13, whatever. I would say it's starting to push it now, but it took this long to get up. Like I wasn't like in year 8.
Once they stopped supporting it, like once they stopped adding content to it.
Pretty much, but that took like 10 years to do. I mean, for the first 10 years of the game, I wasn't like, man, I really want Mario Kart 9. This 8 sucks. No, I mean, it kind of was great the entire time. I mean, I don't know about you, but I had a ton of fun with it the entire time. I'm going to help the people out there. It's a little therapy out there because Johnny fans, if you feel like him, it's a sad, pathetic life. I'm sorry, Johnny. I don't mean to be rude, but I kind of do. It's a sad,
this is a character,
life.
Dude. I don't think like I said this before. I don't go to sleep angry or wake up angry that there isn't a new 3D Mario announced.
Well, some people out there are trying to match their life to your character, and it's making their life worse. So I'm going to try to make it better. So I'm a great example of, because I share your frustrations, Johnny. I just deal with them in different ways, arguably better. For me, I was frustrated with the lack of Nintendo games. I've had my eye on a PS5 since it came out, but it took me. I just got one last year.
And then you bought a Nintendo game on a PS5.
What game? Nintendo game?
Astrobot is
it's not.
Yes, it is.
When you guys talk about Astrobot, if you ever talk about Astrobot on the show, bring me back because I want to destroy this man because it's nothing. It's not that it's nothing. Oh my god!
It has the same mechanics
as
it's
not like
Sunshine.
Galaxy, it's that it's a very different game. It's like saying a Whopper is a Big Mac because of the same.
And you really do love food analogies.
I do. I love analogies, and I'm also fat. So I mean, this is just how it works. But so anyway, I was frustrated with Nintendo and lack of games and stuff, and I've always had my eye on a PS5, and at the time was right, and the price was right. I figured I'd pick one up, and I did in late 2024, and it changed my freaking life. I mean, like I'm actually in the process of selling my Switch. I'll still have one, but like my extra one that I had, like normal. Those of us in the niche of a niche have multiple Switches. I only had a couple extra, so I'm selling the extra one that I had. And just keeping the one that I want.
That's so funny. I don't know. That is hilarious.
I'm selling my Switch. I might even make a video about it. I don't know, just for clicks. But I'm selling my Switch. I'm going to switch to PS5. I'm not actually doing that. But yeah, that's what I did. I didn't play any Switch after Echoes Wisdom. Before Echoes Wisdom, I didn't play any Switch. After Echoes Wisdom, I didn't play any Switch. It was just Echoes Wisdom this past year. But after, and like before Echoes Wisdom, I was playing a lot of Steam Deck. But after Echoes Wisdom, I started playing PS5. And it actually made me a mega Spider-Man fan, and it made me remember the nostalgia I had for it as a kid watching the movies with Tobey Maguire. It made me like it rekindled that fire in me, and now like I rewatched all of Spider-Man, all the movies over winter break, Abby's winter break, and I fell back in love. I beat all 3 games since November. I played them all, I beat them all, and I love it. And I'm really glad that I did that. And it's not that my anger for Nintendo is any less. I still want the next system. I want more games to play. But in the meantime, I found something different. Something else that I found more franchises that I didn't know I would fall in love with that I have. Astrobot was a complete shot in the dark. I'm like, this game looks like something I would enjoy. And now I consider myself a 3D platform fan. And I think the last time I was on your show, I said I wasn't.
And now you should be even angrier. There hasn't been a 3D Mario in 8 years. It turns out, Johnny,
F you, I actually don't like 3D Mario platformers, but I like the rest of them apparently, because I've yet to play a 3D Mario platformer that I like fully.
But you already did. You played Astrobot, so you played Sunshine and Galaxy. Like,
it's not the same game.
It is. It's very close.
Maybe what you could say is that it's a 2024 version of it, but that's the future. That's like saying a Model T is the same thing as a Mustang from 2024. They're very different cars.
They even shouted out. They even shouted out Mario at the Game Awards.
Even if it was just a copy and paste of the exact same assets and the exact same gameplay and with just new hardware, even if that was the case, which it's not, it's still like the best version of it and way different because it's so much newer.
All right, I have a question. So you're saying you did other things to distract you from Nintendo. What do you think I do at home? Like, what do you think I do when I'm not when I'm not? Do you think I'm just like sitting in the dark?
I think you squeeze kittens a lot. I think you make angry tweets on Twitter, and I think you yell on the internet. That's what I think you do.
But like, I'm not.
How far off am I?
That's not like my whole brain. Like, that's not my whole brain capacity. I played a lot of different games over. I'm a big Vampire Survivors like fan, and I've been finding a bunch of different Vampire Survivor like games. And I played a lot of those over the.
I'm going to interrupt you. I'm going to interrupt you because it just seems like that's the only way you get to talk on this show.
That is how podcasts work, bro.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's nice to
I
just listen
I don't
instead
like
of
those
have your mouth
podcasts.
move. I'm not talking about
I don't
podcasts.
like it, but all right,
Cheesy,
Cheesy, what are your thoughts?
Sorry.
Oh, you want me to speak
we
now?
both on our show.
It's actually refreshing. I don't know. Now I know that I can speak. I'm just saying that you're complaining about all of these top seller games when you were playing some like indie games and enjoying them. So what's the difference between people playing, say, like Pikmin or Xenoblade or Fire Emblem or some of these niche games, and they enjoy playing them, but it's a problem because they didn't sell that much, that they shouldn't be enjoying them, or it says that people don't enjoy them?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all.
You're saying it's a waste of time.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying the majority of people want those other games, want games that like Mario Kart or Animal Crossing or Super Smash Brothers. I mean, yeah, I enjoy other games, but I think I said this before too. I do enjoy other games, but I really just want to play Zelda and Mario games. Like, that's all I want to do.
I know.
And I feel like I'm not alone. Because there are people that just play one game. There are people that just play one game the whole time.
You know, you do have other Mario and Zelda games that you could be playing. You just choose not to.
But I beat them.
You've beaten every Zelda game?
Yeah, except for Skyward Sword, but like...
No, you haven't beaten every Zelda game.
I have.
You've beaten every Game Boy Advance, every DS game.
Zelda 2?
Not Zelda 2, but I beat the Game Boy games. I beat
the man who says he only wants Zelda has games that he hasn't played but still wants more games and complains that there's no games to play.
I want new games. Like, I don't want...
You don't want old games.
I don't want to play Game Boy Advance games in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025. I want to play a new 3D Mario game. God damn it.
It's fine. Like, you can want to play. I think Cheesy and I agree with you more than you feel like we do. Like, am I wrong about that, Cheesy? Like, I feel like we agree with him in that, at least in that sense. That,
for the most part.
Yeah, it's just your delivery on it and your overly negative frustration over it and your lack of understanding what's outside your blinders of why it is what it is.
I know why it is what it is. I told you why it is what it is. They didn't release it because they're holding it back for the next system.
And that's
at this point, yes.
That's
at this
stupid.
Point, yes. No, it's not. You tell me right now, if they released a brand new 3D Mario tomorrow, that's a good idea?
Yes.
That's not a good idea.
They're probably gonna.
You're
thinking they're not gonna release cross-generation games, and I think you're completely wrong
no.
on that.
If they release it tomorrow, then it's not they can't even talk about the cross-gen thing because the other gen doesn't exist yet. They gotta announce it.
I mean,
it's not a good idea.
I would buy it immediately day
one
tomorrow.
You buy everything.
I think a lot of people would buy a 3D Mario day one. Yeah, I think that's.
You can't use you as an example. You have to know that you're different.
There's 150 million Switches out there.
Do you think that you're the majority?
Of course, it's a good idea.
You honestly believe you're the majority? You're not the majority, dude.
I am though. I clearly am.
You have tendencies. You're the majority. You like McDonald's. The majority of us like McDonald's. But you're not in the majority of human beings who play video games because of what you say why you are. Like, you're not. Like, you're in a niche.
I think if a 3D Mario release tomorrow. Now I know we have like Donkey Kong coming out this week, which is an overpriced remake. It's not going to sell well. But if it was a brand new 3D Mario that released like the same day that supposedly the Switch 2 is being revealed, dude, it would sell so much.
It would sell so much. You would play it, beat it within 8 hours.
And I would love that 8 hours. Like, what is you're not understanding. You don't get it. You just don't get it. You're acting like after I beat Mario Odyssey, I was like pounding on Nintendo's door, be like, all right, I'm done with this one now. Give me another one. No, it's been 8 years, bro. It's been 8 years. Like,
what's an acceptable amount of time? What's an acceptable amount of time?
4 years.
And what experience do you have in the industry to make that that's possible?
This is the longest time between Mario games.
Every other Mario game. Team, do you think they're capable? Nintendo's Mario team, they're capable of doing that?
100%.
They've kind of proven they're not. Until they prove us otherwise.
100%.
At this point, the modern Mario team is not capable of it because they haven't done it yet.
This is the longest time between 3D Mario releases. Like, that's the same team.
It's the most recent example we have, and at this point, they're not capable of it.
Then you can say, the next time they if they wait another 8 years, you'd be like, well, we haven't seen it that they could do it in 4 years.
They also put out Go ahead, Zizi.
What are you saying that they're not capable of it? What makes you say that?
They're not capable of what? Putting out a 3D Mario game because they haven't done it yet. They released Odyssey. And it's been 8 years. But before Odyssey, what was the last 3D Mario game?
Super Mario Galaxy.
3D World.
And how long was between Odyssey and Galaxy?
4 years. No, 3D World is 4 years.
No. I'm saying Super Mario Galaxy 1 and then Super Mario Galaxy 2.
And when Super Mario...
Yeah, those were 2 years apart or 3 years apart.
Yeah.
2010. Yeah, that's 7 years. 7 years.
What?
No.
Mario Odyssey came out in 2017, not right?
Yes, but 3D World came out in 2013.
Galaxy 2 came out in 2010.
Yes, but the 3D team worked on 3D World. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about 3D
So
Mario.
Galaxy 1 came out in 2007. Galaxy 2 came out in 2010. So that's a 3-year gap.
We're starting at 2010.
Then 3D World came out in 2013. 3 years. Then Odyssey came out in 2017. 4 years. Now we're 8 years down the line.
If you're counting 3D World, which I do count as
how do you not count it?
I wasn't finished saying what I was saying. I count it as a 3D game, but it is a very, very different game than the Galaxy and Odyssey.
But it's the same team that made that game.
Guess, do you know that for a fact? I mean, I don't know. Yes,
it's EAD or whatever.
Okay, is it the same team who made Wonder?
No, that's a different team.
Okay. So, I see. I understand your point. Okay, 3-4 years is the average, and now it's been 8 all of a sudden. I'm not denying it's been a long time.
If I ran Nintendo,
we know
a sequel would be every 4 years.
Something running around in my head that I haven't gotten out yet that has been talked about on the internet is Nintendo has acknowledged that gaming has been changing, and it's changed rapidly. And getting games out could be a part of that. Like, release windows must be a part of that.
I understand.
Industry. So the fact that they've said that, it should tell you without them they can't just say, like, they're not just gonna. They're not. They should, but they're not just gonna say, "Hey, we haven't put out a game in 8 years because the industry's changed." Sorry, they're saying it in interviews the way that they will do it. And the way they've done it is said, hey, the industry's changing. The same interview where they talk about AI and stuff. They also talked about, it's the same implications. And I don't remember the exact article or anything.
If a 3D Mario is shown and announced to come out this year, I'm going to be happy. All right. But then after that, if we have to wait another, if we're let's say if we're 4 years out, like in 2029, and we still don't see another 3D Mario, I'm gonna be annoyed again. Like, I'm good when I get it, but it's I don't want to wait as long as we waited. 8 years is your full length of like elementary school. You go from 1st to 8th grade in 8 years.
In elementary school? You guys do 1 through 8?
I did. I was in a very small area.
Oh, I did 1 through 6, and then middle school is 7 through 8th.
But that's what
I did too.
It's a long time. It's a long time.
So if I ran Nintendo, I think I would like to present some ideas for Universal Studios. Obviously, they have the Donkey Kong Country Land and they have the Mario Land, but it's Super Nintendo World, not just Mario World. And I think that it would be cool if they had a Splatoon concert the same way that they have the Splatoon concerts with the holograms or holographic. No, what is it? Holograms of like the band members. I think that would be awesome if they did that like every 15 minutes, and you got to see a show. Maybe a Zelda park, which I think is rumored actually. So that would be cool. Just some new stuff for Super Nintendo World. Having like a Able Sisters like merch store for Animal Crossing. That's kind of like a Build-A-Bear kind of like area. I think would be really cool, and you can make your favorite Animal Crossing character. Just stuff that like. Yes, it has been a long time for these games, and I can't believe I'm going back to this.
I didn't want to say anything. Hold on, real quick. I didn't want to say anything, but everything that you're saying that you want in a new park are their major releases. Nothing about. You're not talking about Metroid. You're not talking about ARMS.
I have never denied. Oh, dude, ARMS would be so fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but no, I have never denied that. And if anything, Johnny, I've always brought up the Nintendo Big Four, which is Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, and Splatoon. Like that is what they're. What do
Pokemon.
What?
Yeah,
that doesn't count, man.
It doesn't really count.
It does count. It's the only place
it's
you can
not.
play
It doesn't. Is Pokemon on the Nintendo store? When you look up the Tokyo Nintendo store,
it's at Nintendo New York. It is.
It's
There's
Game Freak,
Pokemon
Johnny.
stuff.
Are you denying that Game Freak has any involvement in Pokemon?
I mean,
you denying that Game Freak
Nintendo
has
owns
their own
what
company?
30% stake or whatever. I'm just saying.
Can you do math? That's 70% the Game Freaks, which means that it's Game Freaks, not Nintendo. They own it business wise. They don't run it.
I'm just saying, Pokemon.
If
like
Nintendo
when you think of Pokemon,
the game would not release the way it does. Nintendo ran it. Nintendo has quality control. They have standards. Clearly, Game Freak does not. Their standards revolve around the moolah.
there is a rumor that Pokemon is coming to Universal, though.
Yeah, because they took over like the kids area or something.
So, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm just saying that you're naming all the big titles and not the small ones.
Is anyone here on this panel saying that the small ones matter more?
At the very beginning of the show, what Geeb was most excited for, he said Metroid. It wasn't a big seller.
It's not a
That's
big
fine.
seller.
It's not. No, I agree with you, man.
If Metroid sells 20 million in the next year, are you going to change your mind? Are you still
I will, dude. If Metroid sells 20 million, I will. I don't know what I'll do. I'm not doing the chip again, but if Metroid sells 20 million, I'll do something. I'll get a tattoo. I'll get a tattoo of Metroid. There we go. That's what I'll do. I don't have any tattoos.
Okay. Anyway, what I'm saying is, yeah, I was talking about some of the bigger IPs, and I get that is what sells, but that doesn't mean that there aren't IP that people still enjoy. Just because that they sell lower doesn't mean that they don't have any kind of, I don't know, likeness to them.
There's also newer IP. A lot of these, like Pikmin, is a newer IP.
Is it? It's like 25 years old now, man.
Newer. Mario's been Mario is it's unfair to compare Mario.
Animal Crossing is the same period.
Mario, it was in the early 80s.
I know, but Animal Crossing came out when Pikmin came out.
And that came out in the mid 90s, right?
That was, well, in the US it was
That's a decade later. That's a decade later. And mind you, gaming
it did no. Animal Crossing came out on the GameCube and Pikmin came out on the GameCube.
That's late 90s.
Animal Crossing came out on the 64.
Yeah. Okay,
in
so
Japan.
you're making my point better. I'm saying they're not in the same area. I mean, think about technology 5 years from let's look at technology from 5 years ago to now. Very different. AI is blown up. It's changed everything. Technology in the 80s to the 90s was like a generation of people in terms of its weight.
I'm not
in the change. Like from the mid 80s to the 2000s, it might as well be the next generation of human beings has happened in that time span. As far as technology is concerned.
I don't mind these smaller titles. I just want the bigger titles around them.
Mario helped build the gaming industry. That's something you can't say about these other smaller Nintendo IPs. So they're at a disadvantage already. They're not quite. They're working their way there.
What's Metroid's excuse then?
They're not gonna get. That's a good point. I purposely didn't bring that one up. It's just not as good. It's just not as good. It's not a bad.
It's a Metroid game.
No, it's good. It's just I think I don't know, the audience, Japanese audience, that just doesn't resonate with. And
I'm going to answer your question because I actually have been thinking about this one because it's like, man, Metroid Prime was so good, but then also Halo happened, in the same kind of time frame as far as Metroid Prime games. And it's like, okay, why didn't Metroid Prime take off like Halo did? Halo's a much better game. It always has been, and it probably always will be, as far as FPS shooters go. That's probably why Prime didn't take off specifically. I know
you could
Prime
also play online too. That was a big component of it.
Yeah. Why Nintendo? Why if Nintendo would have made it more like Halo and had online capability? I think it's a different conversation today.
Maybe. But, I mean, we've talked about it before. Where I don't want to call it a Metroidvania game because it's a Metroid game, but people just don't like Metroidvania games. They don't like the idea of backtracking and getting lost. And like a lot of people just don't even start them. Yeah, you don't like them?
I like the idea of them, and then I go to play them and I get frustrated. I'm the kind of gamer who, if I'm getting frustrated, then I'm not having enough fun. And if I'm not having enough fun, I have so many other options to go toward.
Yeah, and for me, like kind of bringing it back to Zelda, like what I was saying at the beginning of the show, is like those Metroidvanias to me are like really fun puzzles to figure out. Like, yeah, sometimes it's frustrating because you get lost and you're like, I don't know what to do, but then you eventually do figure it out, and it's like, oh my god, like it feels so good to finally move on and see what is next.
Yeah. One of these days, we need to have like a really happy, non-argumentative conversation.
I think it's not going to happen.
It'll happen as soon as the 3D Mario gets announced. As soon as 3D Mario gets announced, I'll be super happy. Like Thursday.
Can you be less of a bleep hole? Can we just a little?
I don't know.
Because it'd be better if you could. Because then you're a bleep hole, and then I become a bleep hole, and there's just two bleep holes, and poor old Cheesy over here is just trying to be a nice old, person from Colorado. And it's like
I'm correct. So
it's not even that.
And then you say shit like that, and you piss me off.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show. It's a little late for that, but I don't know. I'm not even trying to be nice. It's just I've gotten so over, and I know, Johnny, you're playing a character. You're the Stephen A. Smith of this podcast.
I'm not playing a character. This is me.
You said that you were playing a character.
You should guys. I mean,
I'm just like
Drip's met me in real life. I play a character. I have a persona, so to speak, just like all of us do when we get on a microphone. It's just natural for us. Like you just kind of bring out somebody who's not normally there day to day. But at the same time, I'm very much this person. Like if you met me in person, I'd be loud. I'd be yelling at you because we talk about something passionate. We would do the same thing as on the microphone or in person. You have said to us that you are playing this up as a character. You're not actually this way.
Johnny's an introvert.
That's what pisses me. I'm an introvert too, but again,
I'm an introvert,
to a point. I reach a point.
I don't like people.
I get in your face. You and I, Johnny, you'd be scared of me in person because I'd yell, and you'd probably get upset. And I would have to not yell.
I don't think so. Like,
I got a big bark.
If I know the people, like if I didn't know you like before, like if you were just like start yelling at me,
it's a flaw of mine. And
like the first time I would ever interact with you and just start yelling, yeah, I would be like, what is happening right now? And not be happy. But like, no, I mean, this stuff, of course I, exaggerate things because it's not interesting if we're like not.
Yeah, but I mean, I
think there is a problem with that in today's culture. Like, It's always been this way. It's always been this way. It's always been this way. The internet just heightened it.
Yeah, and whoever is the loudest gets more attention.
Exactly.
It works for him. Look at his TikTok.
It works for me. TikTok's going away. So now I gotta figure out what to do because TikTok's going away. But
may I give you a suggestion?
Red Note or whatever.
I actually don't have a suggestion. Just be nicer.
I feel like I'm not mean.
I'm an asshole and I'm nice at the same time. It's very weird.
I'm not calling you guys idiots. I'm not like, Geeb, you're an idiot for thinking this.
I mean, it sometimes kind of comes off that way, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying the opinion is idiotic.
Yeah. Let's just erase all the franchises that aren't Mario and Zelda. That's
clearly
right. That's
clearly an exaggeration.
You're right, Johnny. You were right.
It's clearly exaggeration.
If you're exaggerating it, then why bring it up?
Because it gets across the point that we don't get these big titles enough. Like,
wasn't this a huge generation of big titles?
At the beginning.
What more do you want? And I know the answer to that. More Mario. I get that. And you're probably right about that.
I want more of them.
Outside of that, hey, Cheesy, this is your point of the episode, right? Was to, what would you change if you were running Nintendo? What would you do?
Sure,
honestly,
I don't know.
My answer to that question, to be honest with you, is not a whole lot different. I think they're I think they're killing it. Excuse my French.
Why start now?
I think only a couple. I think they're killing it. I'm
not going back to find them. This is going up.
I think they're doing great. I really do. I think it's hard to disagree with me. I'm gonna say objectively, I'm right about that. That they're killing it right now.
I agree. They're doing great. They could do better though.
Even Cheesy's suggestions, a lot of them were small ones. I would add to Cheesy's points, everything he said, plus like the eShop. I mean, obviously that needs to change. That's without question. Just make it not suck, please. Just basic would be great, but just not suck. But really not a lot I would change. I think what I would change is get people like Johnny to shut the hell up. I think maybe just
they have to reveal the system.
Schedule out the big ones a little bit better, so it's not 8 years in between. Although I think that was very not intentional, and it was unavoidable that was going to happen, and it was inevitable since COVID happened. It was inevitable that was going to happen.
Chip back with me in 4 years, and we'll see.
Nintendo didn't plan well enough for a global pandemic that just came out of nowhere. Oops.
See, I'm okay, even if I don't know, 8 years is a long time, right? I would have been okay if they were supporting them with content every now and then. We brought up
more DLC. How about that? That's a good one to add.
We brought up
more
Astrobot,
especially for their big titles.
Astrobot has been doing free content updates every month or every couple months. Like they had the whole speedrunning edition, which would have been cool in Mario Odyssey. They added a brand new level for the holidays, stuff like that would have been good over the years. But we did get Balloon World, but that was pretty much it.
Adding to my point, kind of what you're saying too, Johnny. Like more DLCs to their big titles, a little more fan service. It's like Astrobot's doing. Just do a little bit more of that stuff. Make it more of an interactive experience and less of we made a piece of art. Here you go, and we're never going to mention it ever again. Maybe just update a little bit. I think that'd be great. Make Mario Kart live service. My last point. Make Mario Kart live service. That is the way to go.
Free or not? Free or not?
Probably should be free. Because you're going to pay for. They could make you pay for the extra racers. But definitely live service. I don't know how they're going to go with it. Whether they're going to make it free. Probably not. It'd be my guess. But maybe they will. I think it'd be a smart move to make it free. Honestly, they'd probably make more money if they did it that way. It's just they'd have to conform to the live service portion of it. And I'm a guy who didn't used to be into Fortnite. I used to be very against live service games. I've come around to it because it's also kind of inevitable. Games are going in a direction. The industry is going in that direction, unfortunately. But I think if any company can do it right, I think it could be Nintendo. And I think Mario Kart would be the perfect game to do that with.
I mean, they have done it with Mario Kart Tour on your phone. Now I know that's a mobile game, but we could see how they did it. They sold racers and costumes and They released maps every few months.
Way too expensive though.
I mean, that's how free to play games are. Like if you look at Call of Duty, like there's Squid Game bundles right now, and I think if you get all 3 of them, it's like $87.
That's ridiculous.
I think I want them to take pretty much the Fortnite route, because I actually think Fortnite does it really well, because the way that they do it's a free game and they do seasons, and I think that'd be perfect. Yeah, you could pay $10 for a season. The season lasts a month and a half, 2 months, something like that, and you pay like $50 a year, including a couple skins, and you do that for like 4 or 5 years. It's like buying 4 or 5 copies of Mario Kart, where instead you just bought your seasons and whatnot. And for me, that's justifiable. Like I probably spend about $30 to $50 on Fortnite a year, and for me it's justifiable because I'm getting my money's worth. I'm playing the game. I'm having fun. It's continuing the fun. They're changing the game on their end. They're adding things to the game, make it more interesting, change mechanics a little bit. Same idea to Fortnite or to Mario Kart. They could do the same thing with that. If they could just literally copy and paste the Fortnite formula, I'd be really happy with that.
I've said it before. I think that they actually have been trying to get better at that. It's not at the level where it should be, but like when you look at Splatoon 3, that is free. They add free updates all the time, new maps, new weapons, new specials, and then like even Switch Sports, they had like weekly challenges that you could get new costumes and stuff like that, and like maybe it was a little too much, and so they got to like kind of spread it out a little bit, but it does seem like they were trying to add more. And then like even the Booster Course Pass DLC, I know Johnny likes to say that people only raced them like 2 times and then nobody talked about it, and he's right. However, they still did it, and they didn't have to do that. So it was nice that they were adding DLC. Like they should have done something with Animal Crossing. I think that's a complete
big miss.
Yeah, that is a fumble on their part. There could have been DLC for Superstars, Mario Party Superstars. For Wonder, yes. And for Odyssey. So like there are things that they could be doing better. And Geeb, I think you're right. Like they're doing a lot of things right, and they did a lot of things behind the scenes. So it wasn't like they weren't. Yes, like we have had to wait a long time for certain games to come out, but it's like they have involvement with Lego now, and they made a Mario movie, and they're working on a Zelda movie, and they have a theme park. So it's like they are trying to branch out more with their brand, more than they ever have.
Yeah.
So I think it will be exciting to see what Switch 2 era brings because of the success of the Switch, and if they can keep their foot on the gas. Because if they let off the gas, then yeah, we are going to be back into the same spot that we were with the Wii U. Though that's a huge exaggeration because I don't think it's going to go that way, but they have to have a reason for selling Switch 2. Like, what is the big seller for Switch 2? We talked about it on your show a little bit. Like right now, I'm excited that we'll get a new console, but I'm not excited that it's like, here's just a newer Switch. Like, yeah, it worked and I loved it, but I also am like, I need something else that is like, this is the reason that you want to Switch 2.
This is not about Switch 2, but just because Drip and I love talking about it, especially me, I want to talk about it right now, and because you brought it up. It's the games that's going to change the Switch 2.
For sure.
The console needs to be different enough to separate itself from the original Switch, which I think they're going to accomplish. Whatever that C button is, it's going to be something that's going to really separate it from the original Switch. It's not going to look that different, but it doesn't need to look that different because it's just another iteration of it. Whereas the Wii U was way more complicated overall, and that's a big reason why it was a failure, because they didn't market it well enough. They're going to fix that this time. They're not going to make the same mistake twice with marketing. They're going to fix that. But it's going to be the games ultimately that make the Switch 2 different and great. And I think if they can release a live service Mario Kart launch day with the system for free, it's basically adding a free game to the system. I mean, think about it. It's not even that wild to think about that they could do that with. Because like think about Wii Sports as a launch game with the Wii. That was massive. And it wasn't live service, but my point is that it was a launch game. It was a free title with the system, and it was one of the best games on this platform to this day. Mario Kart 9, 10, whatever they call it, deluxe edition, whatever they call this thing. If it's live service, which would be basically a free add-on to the system, along with the third-party support that is rumored to go along with this thing, it's been rumored for a long time. That's a big speculation of Drip and I. That's kind of what we thought was one of the reasons for delay. They wanted a better third-party support when the system launched. I really think they're going to, and the rumors recently have backed that up, which is cool. Like to see the rumors from last year kind of line up with right now. Pretty cool. So like Halo could be a launch title. What are some of the other ones that rumored to be launch titles?
Final Fantasy.
Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine a world where we have a live service Mario Kart game, and don't even think about live service. Just think of it like a free game with the system that you can pay $50 a year to customize, and you know what I mean. So it changes the game up, makes it even better than Wii Sports, which it's like customize your rackets and stuff. They weren't able to do that, I don't think. At least not like they're going to be able to do the new live service Mario Kart game. But that aside, just imagine that. Think about that world. Huge third-party support. Massive games at launch, plus a free Mario Kart game to go along with the system. That is going to just be, it's going to kill. They're going to kill with the Switch 2 if they do that.
Johnny,
if I change Nintendo, I do that. Do what I said.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna. We're not gonna have a Wii U situation. It's just not. It's not even possible because they're gonna have so much. Like they know what they did wrong, and then they're not going to do it again. So we're not going to have a Wii U situation. I don't think it's going to be as successful as the Switch one, but I think it still will be successful. I am excited for the third-party support. I think it's a lot of old games. So like I would like a confirmation of Monster Hunter Wilds on the Switch too. I'd like Elden Ring, Night Rain, some other stuff that's new games and not stuff that came out, however many years ago. I don't know if third-party support of old games will help sell new people to it. I mean, I'm excited if we get Halo, but I don't know if everybody else is. It's really going to come down to the Nintendo games, and Mario Kart is the obvious launch title that will sell. Like everybody will buy it for a new Mario Kart. It's live service, and every Switch 2 console comes with it pre-installed. I mean, just imagine. Yeah, it's easy money. I think a 3D Mario could also move units, but that's probably not going to happen right at launch. But if Mario Kart's at launch, it's not going to flop. And as soon as they get a Pokemon game on there, it's not going to flop. Like there will be one. We know. ZA. Yeah. Legends ZA is probably going to be on there. And Pokemon Pizza. Like any console with a mainline Pokemon game has not flopped. So we're not going to see a flop for Switch 2. But we're like an hour and 38 minutes in. I think I got all of my factually correct information out there. Jeebs, thanks for being on. Let the people know where they can find you. You can find me in Johnny's DMs, arguing with him about things that he's wrong about. But mainly, you can follow me on twitch.tv/UncleGeeb. I stream there. I try to, at least. But mostly, you can find me every week on the Drip and Geeb Podcast. You can search Drip and Geeb anywhere. Google it. It'll come up. We're everywhere. Apple, Spotify, and where you listen to podcasts. Our YouTube channel, which Drip and I are going to try to do more like video content as well, additionally to podcasts this year. Like, I would not be surprised if like I make a video when the Switch 2 gets launched, like a video, not a podcast. So like definitely, if you listen to our show on audio, definitely check it out on YouTube as well, because the show is fun to watch, especially when Drip and I argue like Johnny and I. There. And then I got YouTube. I got stuff going on over there. UncleGeeb on YouTube. UncleGeeb everywhere. Also, I recently started working for a PlayStation channel as well. That's fun, making videos for PlayStation Corner. You can find me over there. There's a video coming out tomorrow afternoon. It's about
a game that I don't remember the name of. Did a little review of the demo. I'm helpful. Yeah, if you like PlayStation content, mainly games. It's a lot of games. They're all on PlayStation, of course. That's the angle, but it's games. If you like video games, check the channel out.
Cheesy, what about you?
You can find me on TikTok for the time being, Twitter, Instagram, Nintendo Powercast if that comes back, CheezyC64, CheeEezyC64. Most likely be on Twitter until I just decide that I'm not gonna be on there, and then if Miiverse or whatever comes back, you can find me on there as well.
And I'm Johnny Bo everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, if I ever decide to stream again. TikTok, because I don't think it's getting banned. YouTube, Instagram, and the Nintendo Powercast, one that comes back, because I'm sure we're going to do stuff once Switch 2 gets revealed. But it's this week, Thursday, the day after you're listening to this, the Switch 2 will be revealed. Thanks for listening. Geeb, what's your final thoughts?
Out of beer.